So today's theme is what I wished my family knew when I transitioned. So this is today's theme. So we are not going to do it like we always do. That means one go after the other. We are going to kind of, be spontaneous and talk to each other. It's like a talk on a special table, and everybody can talk about it. And by the way, you're all welcome to put questions, and we'll try to answer them. I just have to get this organized for the questions, though. But
all right, I'll start off real quick while we got a minute. If you're a parent,
yeah, go ahead.
And if you love your child, you should accept your child. And I'm not trying to put ideas in people's heads, and I'm not trying to do whatever, but the odds of your child committing suicide, which I think, from my understanding, transgender is one of the highest there is, period, for suicide. But with that being said, you as a parent, sometimes you need to just stop, think, and acknowledge, do you really want your child here, or would you rather that they're not here? And if you do want them here, I'm not saying that you should encourage anything, but you should let your child be who your child wants to be. And there'll be some experimental for both years to try to figure out what's right, what's wrong. And if you just nurture your child and you're just there for your child and your child's needs, that's the greatest gift you could ever give to your child that's been bestowed with. And understand, I happen to believe that the transgender is a blessing later on in life when you've gotten through all the hard parts. But going through those hard parts, it's some really hard times, and there may be some fun times. But there are some struggles that you deal with from society, from dating, from being presented, from religious people. It goes on and on and on. And just basically don't get wrapped up in it. Just focus on your child's needs, give them a lot of love, and whatever it is, and at some point, if they're young and you catch it at a young age, do what you need to do to make that child right. And there is no magic wand. This is every child is different. Every person is different. Everybody's needs is different. You just need to figure out what your child's needs are and try to focus on that.
Well, Bonnie, I remember one time hearing a parent say, when they were talking about their transgender male to female child, that they mourned the son that they had. However, they gained a daughter. And they were talking about, like, it was hard losing the son, but at least they still had a child. Like, because of the high suicide in our community, the rate of suicide, that she was aware, like, I could have lost my child, but at least I have a child. My child's now a daughter. So it's interesting. But I always like kept in mind how difficult it must have been for my parents. I mean, we as trans people, we have to live our lives. And I remember having a conversation with my mom, and I was like, she's like, well, I worry about you. Like, what kind of quality life are you going to have? And people are so cruel. And I'm like, I understand that, Mom, but what am I supposed to do? Like, this is me. Am I supposed to go under a rock? Like, what am I supposed to do? And so it's definitely hard on both sides. And I always thought about, like, how difficult, and especially for my father, it must have been pretty difficult for him dealing with having a trans son, But yeah, it's not an easy road, but definitely, Bonnie, I agree with you, because of, like, the lack of support that trans people often have. Like, if you have the support of your family, that's golden. And
it's better than golden. It's like a gift from the gods.
Yeah.
And that's why I said for parents, they have to realize that they actually carry that much weight in their child's life. Just accepting them, it's probably one of the most powerful gifts you could give a child.
I love Jazz Jennings. I love her. I think she's a dynamic young trans woman. But let me tell you, I can almost guarantee if she did not have the kind of support that she had from her family, she wouldn't have been able to do a lot of the things she's already done.
Well, she might not even still be here. I mean, what I'm just trying to say, and we all see it all the time. And let me tell you, Natasha's coming up pretty soon. Last year, you know, she left us and she was probably, 55? Well, what I'm just trying to say is, you know, whatever age, it wasn't, and her parents didn't accept her. And I mean, I can go on. And you look at so many people when they're a child and they grow up, but even when they're older, parents have got to reach out. And we have some parents that will probably do some interviews with in the near future, and they can tell us their stories and what they did and how they did it. And, you know, that's, I think, what we need to do to educate, to let people understand that this is not some kind of a fluke or a disease or religious. And I'm just going to say this. If you're trans doesn't mean that you're a child molester, because I've heard that one 20 times, not more. Oh, yeah. And also, you know, all these religious fanatics that are going to go on about, you know, we're against God. We've been here on this earth 2,000 years, transgender, before Jesus was ever born. So, I mean, it's not like the way it's painted out by religious people that are just trying to control us, because there are a lot of religions that accept us. And when we die, God's going to look at our life and what we've done, and that's what they're going to embrace. They're not going to look at, oh, I went to church every Sunday and I committed all these, broke all these sins, but I went to confession every week, so I wiped them all out. But I'll do them again next week, go to confession and whatever. I mean, come on.
As long as you're not trans, it's A-okay.
Well, I'm just trying to say, you know, we're talking about stuff. What are the real big things that transgender people have to deal with? Religion, number one. Ignorance, number two. Just whatever. Everybody else can talk too, but I'm just saying that sometimes it's not fair that people don't even realize how they can hurt somebody deeply. I mean, wound them deeply because they don't understand. So it's better to keep your mouth shut than it is to put somebody down and to start throwing religious stuff. So I'm sure that Jesus did not say it's okay to go beat people up, be mean to them, be cruel, drive them to the point of suicide, and that makes you a good Christian. What I'm just trying to say is let's get realistic, because this program is realistic, and the bottom line is that religion has no place to do with this, because religion has nothing to do with being transgender.
Yeah. Christian, I love the fact, too, that you suggested about having parents on in the future, because, you know, I think it's important as a group that we hear from the parents, because we're all trans, so we can talk about our perspective, but hearing from the other side is a great idea. Yeah.
Oh, Rod, you're trans? I didn't know that.
Where am I? I thought this was the you know, society for you know,
I'm a cisgender woman, honey.
Successful, sexy women. You know, I didn't know we were trans.
You know what I wish? Go ahead, Ella. Go ahead, Ella. You were going to say something?
Go ahead, Christian.
Oh, well, thank you, Raji, for, you know, bringing that up. You know, I was thinking about how, you know, we expect when we're transitioning for society and everybody around us to, you accommodate us. And I'm not trying to say like, like that's like a bad thing or anything, like when we're first transitioning, of course you want to be accommodated. You want people to take a look into your life and kind of jump into your shoes a little bit and be willing to do that. We want to be heard. We want to be ourselves. We want to be authentic. And the way, a lot of us do it is, preferred pronouns. Please call me he, him, his, or they, them, they, or I said that wrong, but she, her, hers, and all these different pronouns that people, can relate with. We want to be accommodated with things like that, and like our names and stuff. But I wanted to walk the walk, and like how I'm on this panel and saying like, I do all these things and this is what I do for success. And this is what I do for, a better life, to upgrade myself. Not just going to sit there and point the finger and say, I expect you to conform to my, the way I want to be treated. I think we should ask parents to come on here and give us their rendition, whether, whatever it is, whether it's a tragic story, whether it's a horrific situation, whether I agree or disagree with their actions. I want to hear it. I think that we owe parents that, because we've expected for them to do, and you can't get something without being willing to give, or at least allow someone to express their experience of life. So that's why I think that would be a good idea. Some people just want to hear one side to the story and that's it, but I don't think that does us any justice. Yeah. It diminishes our ability to see well-roundedly and see the 360 degrees to any situation, So, that's why I kind of want to do that.
Well, if you're talking about religious stuff, God says turn the other cheek. But it seems like religious people do anything but turn the other cheek. It's like they attack us. and it's the same thing with parents. You got to be open and listen. There's support groups for parents that they can go to for other parents that have trans children. And with Zoom, there's some good things that came out of COVID. There's Zoom meetings all over the place for transgender parents, for transgender spouses. They're all over the place. And if you're willing to put out the effort, there's a lot out there that can help people in guidance with their children. That's not saying that you're going to raise them. You got to raise them the way they want to be raised. But of course, responsible and not talking back and, like regular kids. But what I'm just trying to say is if they gravitate towards femininity, then nurture it. If they gravitate towards masculinity, nurture it. But don't force it and don't push it on anybody. Just be support. Be there for them. Let them know that they're not in this world going through this all by themselves.
God, who's calling? Is it me that's ringing? Wait a minute. Sorry, guys. I don't know what the hell's going on. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's confirmation.
I just like we've been going to many support groups over my transitioning. I cannot tell much about my parents because when I transitioned, my parents were not allowed. I can just tell you that I knew that I was a transgender at the age of 5, and this was back in the 60s, so a very long time ago. And, my mother used to beat me up at that time because I was a transgender and didn't like that, Well, before she died, she had a beautiful fur coat and she gave to my sister and said, this fur coat is for your brother. At the time I hadn't transitioned yet. So, it was clear. But it was a kind of, for me, it was kind of a gesture that she accepted my transitioning or my femininity. And she always knew about it because all my family knew about it. But I wanted to say that, throughout the times that we always go, I've been going to support groups, there's always been parents. And I respect them so much. Those parents which really try to understand what is in the head of their kids. It's really incredible. They all come with preconceived ideas, and then they found out that it's not a choice to be a transgender. It's the way we are. It's not something that we just became interested of becoming a transgender. It's the way we've always been and will always be. And this is, I just want to tell all my transgender friends, sorry, got something in my throat. I just want to tell my transgender friends that never forget, you have something which is before them, because what you already know for 2 years, they just found out. So they are delayed, so they have to catch up with you. And that catching up is not so easy. And I have to tell you, I really find those parents. I have a parent of a trans man which became so involved with transgender people that they made their own support group. Because they saw that, we have to support transgender people. And, and we have to support parents of transgender people, because they are all mixed up. For me, it was not so much my parents, but my daughter and my kids. Because that's the other part of the family. I have 3 kids and 1 grandchild. And, my grandchild is too small, but it's all right. But my 3 kids, I told them, I want to be what I always was supposed to be, a woman. And they accepted it. My daughter is one of my best friends. We go shopping together. We do everything together. And it is a really nice thing to do,
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. You know what I wish people would think about when they think about trans people is, we human beings are a part of nature, right? And if you look at nature, there are creatures that are intersex / trans, like the worm and the parrotfish and the oyster, and the butterfly is a metamorphosis. It starts as a caterpillar and it goes into a cocoon and then becomes a beautiful butterfly. It transitions. So there's examples of that in nature. Why wouldn't there be examples of that in us human beings? Like because we're a part of nature,
Yeah.
The ones that
always been.
The guys that are calling me from all over the world, they understand that. They just need to stop calling until I'm done this show. I don't even know who the hell they are. But anyway, shout out to everyone on Facebook that's calling me.
But you know what, Raji? That is a great point that you made. And I want to speak a little bit on that. Like, how you said, like, there's all these examples in nature.
Yeah.
And, it's like, if we can't reference nature, then what the hell are we going to reference? Like, who else is there to ask? Like the alien over there in left field. It's like, who else are we here to reference towards? Yeah, we have people, but apparently the Earth was here before we were. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we kind of came after the fact. We can't be so egotistical to believe that we were here first. It's like the chicken before the egg. Which one?
Right.
But it's like, I look at nature and it's like, there's so many different things you can see, like correlations, metaphors, all these examples that we can use. You see those pictures with the trees and they have you see this tree blowing around, but it's got roots all the way like 50 feet deep. And that's why it's able to stand so strong, because it has a strong foundation. Like all these different things we can see. The river, is your energy calm like a lake, or is it rushing like a rapids? Is it swampy like a mosquito infested, something like that? Like there's all these different references we can have, and being trans is no exception. Like it's not like, oh, you're trans, well, you're not included. No, it's not like that. Like I think just like you said, all those animals. And I think the seahorse too, maybe, is one of those.
Yeah.
I think I read that someplace.
The male seahorse is the ones that carries the baby.
Absolutely.
The female doesn't. So, you know, the diversity in nature, why wouldn't us human beings be diverse? You know?
I think maybe.
Yes, we are.
Go ahead, Ella. What were you saying?
Yes, we are diverse. I mean, humans are so diverse. Thank God. I mean, let's put it this way, you know, transgender people have existed since there exists mankind. In the old times, very, very old times, they even used to be, what you call that, priests, actually, you know, they were priests. And I mean, there is a pharaoh, which was the transgender man. And there in Syria, what is today Syria, there used to be some kings which were transgender as well. In India,
Would they be queens?
Sorry,
You said there were kings. I said, would they be queens?
Kings and queens. I mean, the pharaoh was a trans man, so. I mean. Then, there is the Indras, for example. The Indra are people from India which were transgender for thousands of years, and they were forbidden in 1830-something by the English as being a caste which was outlawed. So the English came and they outlawed them immediately, you know, always the religious part behind.
Well, look at the Native Americans. The same thing happened. Colonization came into play, and then their traditions of honoring two-spirited people was thrown out the window, for lack of a better phrase. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what we are, in the way reviving now is a little bit of a revival of that transgender culture that used to exist for many, many, many years, and it was pretty much accepted, you know. And I believe that is probably why I'm here in this earth, to do something like that, to help there, you know.
Yes, amen. You know, another culture are the Polynesian people. They are very accepting of us trans people because they do believe that there are three genders, male, female, and then the third gender, which is like a mixture or whatever.
It's very interesting because I was talking with someone from Hawaii. Mm-hmm. And, you know, in Hawaii, apparently being transgender is more or less, you know, nothing special. It's like everybody else. They don't put you too many questions. But in the Asian culture, transgender acceptance has been much higher. Like, for example, in the Philippines, we're talking about, Thailand.
Thailand, yeah.
Many other of these countries, transgender people have been accepted much, much more than in the Western culture. Thank God. I mean, it's good. You know, the world is very different in many places, and we just should take it as it comes. And
Christian, let's go to Thailand or let's go to Fiji.
Well, you know what? Once I strike my my gold mine or my oil rig, you know, then I'll take you wherever the hell you want to go, Raji. But
oh, yeah,
that's so nice.
I did it.
How about we settle for some sushi in a Thai restaurant? You know.
Oh,
that's an alternative.
I like that.
Yeah, but real quick, I want to kind of. I have like an idea to answer what you were saying earlier about like when you asked like why is it tough for people to acknowledge the trans people's experience through nature. I think that it's, you know, this life that we live, it's almost like a test, you know, like there's a series of tests that we're supposed to, we have to get the lesson plan. We have to, you know, study and review our notes, and that requires energy and it requires, you know, effort. It requires personal accountability to embrace the lessons that are being thrown our way that maybe make us uncomfortable. and to try to learn through those lessons, those learning curves. And I think when people are presented with these so-called tests in life where like, for example, like, oh, I don't understand the trans community. I just don't get it. Well, that lesson was meant for that person because they're struggling with it. That's almost, that's it. Potentially they need to master that in order to evolve to a higher level of consciousness. Like, in this life, you have to master that lesson in order for you to reach the levels you need to pass and then get to the next chapter or the next level of the video game, or however people like to think of it. Otherwise, they're going to continue to repeat it. And then they're going to have to, repeat the grade. And with life, like tests, they're not meant to be easy. It's meant to be like proving that you have overcome the obstacles thrown your way. You have embraced the truths of the universe. And I think that's something that people are met with in fear, that this being trans is a truth. It's not something you can just discount. You can't just wipe us out. People have tried and it just doesn't work. And we are here. We keep getting created. We keep getting born. So we're not going away. And
that's powerful. You said we keep getting born. We keep getting born. That is powerful.
But based off of what I said, if we're getting that person coming in, like, who knows, maybe the last life I just lived in my past reincarnated life, maybe I was someone struggling with the trans thing. Maybe I overcame and who knows, maybe it's my turn to, like, maybe I embraced it, or maybe I didn't. Maybe I was, again, I don't know, like it could be a whole bunch of things, but my lesson in this life is to embrace myself. I've learned so many things. Looking back, I can kind of see what my life was purposed for. In the beginning of my life, I couldn't really see it, but now that I have a more well-rounded, experience, I'm still young, but I've been through enough to kind of grasp this idea that I know that I was purposed to get a handle of this, of me being trans, embracing it, teaching people to embrace it too within themselves who are trans, teaching parents and people that want to support, that are having a tough time, that, maybe that's their test. And I'm here to try to help people get through their tests, whether you're trans or whether you're not, whether you're trying to support somebody that is and you're struggling with it. That's part of that's one of my purposes here on this earth. I believe life like that.
And why go ahead, Ella, go.
I join you. I think that is one of my purpose too, to try to help. I have to say, today we've been attacked by trolls in our Transguru site. It happens.
Bring it on.
Not the first time. We're getting used to it. But, I just want to tell you that there is one thing very important when we talk about transgender parents and transgender family. And it is always one of the biggest issue when you transition, and that is pronouns. Pronouns are so freaking important. I know. If someone calls me sir, I get so freaking, mad. And I know that Bonnie's going to tell her story because I love that story of hers.
Listen, there might be parents that are listening to this, so I don't want to, but of course I've brought it many times. I just flash them and they get
Well, my thing is, if I go through all of this to present myself to the world, you're going to really call me sir? Like,
also just saying something. Your pronouns.
There, Raji.
Your pronouns are something that you earn too. If you don't look the part, you shouldn't expect to be treated that way. And as time goes on and you earn your stripes, pronouns go along with that. So
and I think
if you got a beard, I'm sorry, I'm not going to yes ma'am you. And
I think to split hairs on that, I think that it's like that. Okay, so I see both sides. I see that, people that, expect to just be given something that is, whatever's valuable is not just given. Nothing is free. So even with this situation, where as deserving of it as we may feel, I don't think that we can just expect to build our character or any of these wonderful things that come with earning that. That being said, I can also see where, if somebody is in the community and they know that you are transitioning and you're struggling, you're trying to get, maybe playing with makeup and stuff, and I'm trans and they're trans, and I know their situation. I feel you. I totally relate. I get it. I understand what it's like to be in your shoes. And when we're in circles together and I'm around you, I'm going to do my very best to never mess up your pronouns. But you can't, I think, in my opinion, we cannot expect other people that are outside of the trans community, outside of the LGBT community, that are cis, that are straight, heteronormative people, to just totally grasp it, like, at first glance, like love at first sight. I totally accept you as trans, and I'm going to totally pronoun you and the way you want and preferred name. I know it all. No, it's just unrealistic. It's never going to happen that way. And if we have an attitude about it and we say, like, I'm entitled to this and you better call me this and you better call me that, you get what you put out there. So if you're going to have a sense of, being snooty and kind of, entitled and arrogant, even though it's probably being used as a way to overcompensate some insecurities about the trans thing, as it is, because I've done that stuff. I've done it too. So be it, though. You're still putting that energy out there and you're going to be met with it. And people, that's not an understanding energy. It's a two-way street. Just like how I expect respect, I have to give it, even when someone is struggling with understanding that that's something that I value as respect. So when I'm dealing with people, like, I see the split of the hairs, like if I'm part of the community, I'm always going to, you tell me, you let me know, and you don't totally look the part, so be it. I'm going to do my best to always know. And I don't really ever have a problem because I feel it. I live this life every day. But people that are outside of this world that don't have a strong grasp of it, and maybe new people still that don't have a strong grasp of it, we have to be understanding if we want to create allies. And if we are damning to hell with people and parents and cis and straight people that are trying to grasp this, and maybe, they're shy about it, then they're just going to be totally turned off and just say, fuck it. I don't even want to try to know you. If you're this rude and nasty to me, why would I ever try to put myself in a compromising position where you can try to, whatever the consequence may be, try to character assassinate me for not calling you the pronoun you want. So I could split hairs on that and be devil's advocate on both sides. I want to hear everybody else's opinion.
Yeah, I have to say, you've got, for example, I've got my sister. My sister has been, known me for all my life because it's been, we are not young anymore anyway, it's been a long time. She really tries to tell most of the time, Ella, and she really tries to tell she. But, sometimes there's a slip of the tongue. And what else can I say then? Okay, I just go, and then she corrects it all the time. Now, this is one example. The other example is, of course, when someone is on purpose trying to tell you, you are a he. I had one person like that. Someone I know for many years, and when I transitioned, he saw me and he very clearly misgendered me the whole time, but very clearly. And he even told you, for me, you always be a man. Off. Okay. So, in that case, my attitude is, bye-bye, I don't want to see you again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, in all this confusion and these difficulties, we cannot forget some of our siblings, which are called gender non-conforming people. And this is very difficult because for me, it's clearly I'm a she. For Christian, it's clear it's a he. But gender non-conforming people, we usually supposed to tell them they. They, it is really tough for some people to say. I remember we had parents of a non-conforming, and they were so absolutely fantastic trying to say the day, but sometimes it just slipped away, you know. It happens. Now, there's something else you have to take probably into consideration. In some countries, the non-conforming people, they are written as X on their passports, gender X. This is the case in India. This is the case in Australia. So in their passports, there's an F for female, an M for male, and an X for gender non-conforming. Which is so slowly it's coming into the talk about the X people, or you can call them the Xi people.
Well, Ella, the thing is, too, you can tell when someone is purposely trying to disrespect you. Like my mom slips sometimes. I mean, come on, if anyone's going to get a pass, my mom's getting a pass. She had me, So she'll slip sometime. I don't take it personal, and other family members will. But then there's people that are specifically doing it to disrespect you. And
to make themselves feel better with themselves. Because they put you down so they can feel that they're okay.
And that's where the difference is, because I'll tell you, I went into some place, hair done, makeup on, nails, girl, like woman, okay? And I walk up to the desk and the lady says very loudly, "Can I help you, sir?" In front of all these people. I was so embarrassed, but in my most feminine voice, I responded and I said, "Yes, I'm here because I have an appointment," and so she gave me the information. And when I was walking away, I said, "Thank you very much, sir. Have a good day." And you should have seen her face. People don't like to be misgendered. And when I notice when I've done that, sometimes they get it. She wanted to go through the floor, because at least I made her feel how she made me feel. I wouldn't do it all the time, but you pick and choose your battles. But that particular time, I had to do it. I was like, "Oh, no, she's not getting away with this one."
It was a safe enough situation for you to give them a valuable lesson.
Yeah.
But some people, I mean, my daughter is a cis woman. She's a very pretty cis woman. And if you would misgender her, she's very petite. So if you would misgender, it would be probably a little bit difficult. But I've seen someone misgendering her. So I go, huh?
I don't care how passable we think we are. There's always people out there that for whatever reason they'll clock it, and then they'll purposely try to call you out on it, But my thing is okay, if you don't see me as a full, complete woman, okay, fine, but you certainly don't see me you cannot see me as one of your homeboys that you hang out with on the corner, or one of your homeboys that you go to the game with. I know I don't look like that. I know I don't act like that. So, okay, see me as the trans woman that I am, because that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm a biological woman, because I'm not. I'm not a cisgendered woman, but I am a transgender woman. So see me as that and respect me as that. Yeah. But although I do have one of the most hot, juiciest, Let me stop. I'm sorry. I'm being bad. Okay.
Hey guys, we've already have a little bit of our time together. We have already 40 minutes out. And
Really? Holy cow.
Yeah, it went so fast. I really loved it. So we'll be here probably next week again. And any other thing?
Yes, send in your questions. Write them down on what this show, and let's look at them. And next time we'll bring them up and we'll try to answer. And eventually we're going to bring on some parents and then bring on some children and let them talk so that we can educate people, because that's what we're trying to do, is give back.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
I just want to tell everybody that this will be Gracie's last video, so.
We're trying to be more, more up to date.
I think Gracie contributed a lot.
Yes.
Yes.
And you know what? It just shows our viewers that we're real. We're keeping it real. This is real life,
Absolutely.
So, anyway.
And maybe next time
thank you, everybody.
And maybe what, Christian?
Here and see you soon.
Real quick, I was just going to say, maybe next time we'll be able to be more specific about like what we wish we knew, and maybe, different perspectives throughout the whole experience. So, this is just an introduction, and we're just getting started. So stay tuned.